This podcast is brought to you by Voice and Vision, bringing help, hope, and healing to individuals, families, and communities affected by mental illness, addictions, and disabilities in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Welcome to Untold Valor, a podcast with a unique focus on veterans, featuring stories of courage, recovery, perseverance, and strength. Listen to hear veterans share their perspectives on what it's like to battle mental health challenges, combat addictions, and overcome other adversities unique to those who have served.
Welcome to another edition of Untold Valor, Veterans Recovery in Action. Thank you so much for being here and tuning into the podcast. As always, we are excited to have a great guest on the program this week. We have Sarah Schwager, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, about her name here. She's going to be joining us talking about what is Project Healing Water. She's the program lead for the King of Prussia chapter, and we're going to talk about how she got involved with that, what's going on with that, and how you can get involved and how they assist veterans. And we're certainly excited to have her here. Reverend Ben is here as always. What's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Ready for another exciting episode.
Yes, sir, indeed. And Sarah, welcome in. I hope I got your name right. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here. And yes, you pronounced it wonderfully.
Thank you. Good. It's always good to see. So now you sent us biopics. We always get stuff from the guests as they're coming on. And there was a pic of you catching some fish here. And so I was looking at your bio, and fly fishing is the thing here. So that's tough. That's very cool. So are you a big, obviously, avid lover of fishing?
Yes, love fishing. Do quite a variety of it. Not a whole lot of like deep sea fishing, but a lot of stream, river, pond, lake type of fishing, mostly freshwater.
Gotcha. Okay. Reverend Ben, you want to go do some fishing?
I can't wait to drop the line. I just can't wait.
There you go. Well, let's talk about, and I'm guessing there's probably going to be a correlation here, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this is all about. So what is Project Healing Waters? Give us the lowdown on that, Sarah.
Yeah, so Project Healing Waters is a nonprofit, national nonprofit. They service 48 out of the 50 states.
Okay. Wow.
They've been around since 2005, so 20 years now, which is pretty exciting. This is the 20th year anniversary.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we'll have a big gala here in a couple months celebrating the anniversary. We're pretty excited about it. They started off, of course, as a small organization like most nonprofits do, and have really expanded over the last 2 decades. And like I said, now have over 200 programs across 48 states.
Okay, that's great. And so they've obviously been doing this a while. And so it says serving veterans in need through fly fishing. So, is that what got you there because of your love for fishing? And how did you find yourself to Project Healing Waters?
Yeah, so that connection there, came along because I grew up fly fishing. My dad was an avid fly fisherman, fished a ton as a kid with him and his buddies. And just really always had a love for it. A little over a handful of years ago, a colleague of mine, I worked for a pharmaceutical company in King of Prussia, a rare disease company. A colleague of mine came across a fishing tournament down in Virginia when he was taking his daughter to visit some colleges. Here, it just so happened he stumbled upon the biggest tournament that the organization ran each year. This tournament specifically was down at Mossy Creek in Virginia. Like I said, they ran this tournament for 15 straight years, which is a huge success. The biggest tournament that the organization has run over, the course of them, starting, and definitely brings in the most donations for the organization out of anything that they do. So it was kind of just coincidental that he stumbled upon this while he was down in the area. He's a really avid fly fisherman, wanted to stop, check it out, ended up talking to, some of the organizational leads, the gentleman who runs the tournament, and was really interested, brought it back to work, talked with us about it, and said, hey, I think I want to pursue CSL Bearing as being the first corporate partner of Project Healing Waters. Let's see if we can get this off the ground.
Wow.
So fast forward, took about a year or two, to go through all the legal stuff of being a corporate partner, not only for the nonprofit, but for our company as well. But we got it up and off the ground and started a chapter in King of Prussia.
Wow. All right, that's fantastic. So, a little bit about, I guess, what they do, right? Is they have different programs, different ways to kind of get involved, whether you're needing help or you want to support. Tell us a little bit about, some of them, some of the facets, I suppose, of what they do.
Yeah, so Project Healing Waters really kind of targets combat military veterans, people who have disabilities due to combat. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical disability. It could be, some kind of health condition that no one can see. It could be, mental health, PTSD, any kind of disability that they have acquired, during their time serving. And we really want to kind of target those veterans who maybe have more severe things going on with their lives. There's a lot of programs for veterans out there. I'm sure we're all well aware of many of them, but this is really to target kind of those who have had gained some kind of disability.
Gotcha.
Due to, their serving. And the treatment modality is fly fishing, which is quite different than a lot of your programs. There's a lot of typical drug and alcohol, mental health, which is very much needed for the veteran community. But this is definitely a little bit different of a therapeutic modality to assist our veterans.
Gotcha. So if you were a veteran and you were wanting to, maybe this is a resource or something you'd like to, tap into, are you getting groups of veterans together, taking them out fishing? Like what does that look like for the end user?
Yeah, so there's multiple kinds of activities that we typically do, depending on where you're located across the U.S. It really depends on, I guess, the months that you have to fish, or if there's other activities that kind of dominate, your group gatherings. But it's anywhere from the variety of getting out on the water, fly fishing, just teaching about fly fishing. So whether that be stream education about the skill, casting lessons, rod building, tying flies. Typically, because I'm located here in Pennsylvania, the winter months are not the best months for fishing for us. So we're going to do more things like tying flies. We're actually doing that tonight too. We've had some really hot weeks, not been able to get on the water all the time. So we wanted to take advantage of, throwing a fly tying session in there this evening. But yeah, it's really a variety of things around fishing in general. It's not just the act of fishing.
Gotcha. Okay. Ben, what's your thoughts on this?
I was just listening to Sarah, and I believe one of the biggest parts of the thing is the camaraderie that these veterans have with each other during the training process of the fly fishing. Me too. I'm a fisherman all day long.
Okay.
But I've never been fly fishing.
Well, you may have to try it.
Looking forward to the challenge. Looking forward to the challenge.
I know. We're going to have to get you out.
Yeah, you may have to try it. Yeah, exactly. So yes. Very cool.
And fishing is therapeutic anyway. It's just something about fishing that just kind of calms your nerves.
I guess it depends on the person, right? I mean, I've always found that I get stressed, I think, whenever I do it. So I must be doing it wrong. So we'll have to...
Well, if you're fishing and you sit back reading a newspaper, you're not fishing. If you're fishing and you catching fish, you're fishing.
Very true. Very true. Sarah, so I'm looking at the website here for projecthealingwaters.org. So if folks want to check that out, we're going to have a link in the show descriptions, but it's projecthealingwaters.org. And right under the programs, one of the first tabs there actually says PHW Women on the Fly. So it says being able to connect with other females has also been very empowering. So obviously this is for all, veterans, right? So this is not, sometimes people maybe hear a term like that and they think, oh, well, this is only for, the guys or whatnot. So it's really cool that they're putting this out for, everyone.
Yeah, traditionally, we've seen over, the first number of years that our population of men was a lot higher in the
Sure.
organization than it was the women. And we were concerned that maybe it was a little intimidating for women to join.
Right.
When I grew up, I'm not going to lie, my father's dream for me was to be a professional fly fisherman. Back then, a lot of women didn't fly fish. So it was a male dominated sport, so we don't want it to continue to be like that. We
Yeah.
want to reach out to all veterans. There's plenty of women out there who have served. So over the last couple years, the organization has really tried to increase their efforts and make it more welcoming to women and start to do some activities that are a little more women focused. So
Yeah.
not that the women would be excluded from larger events, but here and there, they're holding calls, like support calls for just the women, having, some yearly trips that are just for women, and really trying to focus on boosting, the women's population, in the organization.
Yeah, well, it seems like that's obviously a great fit for you, and your dad wanted you to grow up to be a professional fly fisherman. But I mean, it looks like you've combined two things you really love, because obviously you're looking at your bio here. You're a certified trauma therapist, so this is really letting you combine two things that seem to be part of your passion, right?
Yeah. So this was just such a great opportunity for me when my colleague brought this, up. Not only do I have a love for fishing my entire life, but my first career before I was, in pharma and working in rare disease, I was a certified trauma therapist. So I worked with, a variety of clients, but very frequently veterans. Really understand the challenges that PTSD and other traumatic experiences can have on people. So I really thought that being able to bring my therapeutic skills and knowledge into a group that is using this treatment modality of fly fishing, something that I personally love, enjoy, can see the therapeutic benefits out of, and combining that was really just a great opportunity for me to get involved in my community.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's fantastic.
And I find it quite interesting because it's psychotherapy, but it's done in such a way where the client is actually helping themselves through the fishing. It reminds me of the Karate Kid, and he had the kid painting the fence and teaching him karate. It's the same thing with this. We're fishing and we're making. Actually, we're working on ourselves.
You start focusing on something else other than the problem that you feel like you have or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes traditional psychotherapy isn't for everyone, but it doesn't mean that they don't need support and an environment that's welcoming. Like you said earlier, the camaraderie, that is a huge part of this program, is meeting people who have been through similar things as you have. Everybody experiences trauma differently. Two people can be in the exact same situation and just process it differently. So to be able to meet people who have had similar experiences, develop new friendships, whether it be with other veterans or the volunteers, but just building your own personal support network is so key to recovery.
Well, Sarah, how can folks get involved, right? So whether you want to whether you need help and you're a veteran looking to, to tap into this resource, or you're just wanting to get involved, kind of like you did, like how you became, started working with them, there's donations, there's lots of different things. Kind of break some of that down for us.
Yeah, so there's a ton of ways that you can get involved and support the program. Like you said, donations, if you go on to the website, projecthealingwaters.org, it'll give you some options of how you can get involved. There is links for donations if you want to be a donor. You could do a one-time donation. There's people who donate on a yearly basis or, for a couple years and a certain amount each year. There's activities, tournaments, like I said, that Mossy Creek Invitational that, we came across a handful of years ago. People can donate just towards one specific event. any kind of donations are welcome. Even if we take material donations. So
Like
let's
fishing
say,
equipment and stuff, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
let's say, I recently, I got connected with a gentleman who had a guide business, and he was closing down his guide business, but had some equipment and wanted it to go to a good cause, and not just throw things in the trash. Fishing
Right.
equipment's expensive. So connecting, to program leads in your area, you can donate materials that you have. It could be a fishing rod. It could be fly tying material, hooks, feathers. There's all kinds of things that, you could donate. In that website, there's also a couple links to either become a participant in the program or a volunteer. It will give you like a location.
You can
Like
do it by
tab
you can do it by
where
state too. I'm sorry to cut you, not to cut you off, but you guys have a ton, as you said earlier. There's a ton
yes,
of organization or locations.
chapters
Yeah,
all over.
yeah,
Yeah. So even just in Pennsylvania, there's multiple in Pennsylvania. So even if you clicked on the state, Pittsburgh isn't really convenient if you live in the Philadelphia region, but you can find the chapter that's located closest to you through that locator indicator in the website, and figure out what chapter, is local,
yeah.
and then fill out a form to either volunteer or be a participant. It will come over to us program leads. So for myself, I get all of, the King of Prussia leads, whether it be someone who wants to volunteer or, join as a participant. And then I'll walk them through kind of that registration process.
Yeah, and there's like a ton, just in my area alone, there's about 15. Now, granted, I'm near Camp Lejeune, but still, there's stuff everywhere. So lots of ways to get involved on different types. Even the donation stuff. Sometimes people think I want to help, but I just, times are tight or whatever. I mean, it's as low as $10, right? So can provide a veteran with 1 month of Fly Fishing 101, right? So there's just lots of ways to get involved and help. So very, very cool there. Any things that you'd like to share that I didn't think to ask you yet?
I mean, all of the programs are constantly accepting new members, just so everyone's aware of that.
Okay.
We've been working to grow our program for over 5 years. Initially, we started out very small, only had, 1 or 2 active participants, very different now. We meet typically twice a month. I would say most of your chapters are fairly active and meet 2 or more times a month.
Okay.
Some of the more well-established chapters who have been up and running for longer, than the King of Prussia, are doing more activities. But we try to always get together at least twice a month. Like I said, during the winter, more like fly tying, educational stuff. Sometimes we'll just go to, like, we went to like a fly fishing festival 2 weekends ago because they were doing a lot of demos there, whether it be casting, how to tie flies, education about streams in that region. And it's a region that we regularly fish in. So the guys just really can learn about the area that they're fishing
That's
in.
awesome. Yeah.
So just trying to get them out in the community, involved with stuff. And yeah, we're just always looking for new members and very welcoming, to new people. If people have questions, we're always happy to exchange emails, chit chat on the phone. You're welcome to come check something out. If it's not for you, you don't have to stay around. We're happy, for people to try it out. And if it's not your type of therapeutic modality, no hard feelings. We're happy that you tried it.
So if you kind of sign up or if you're a veteran and you kind of join or want to dip your toe in the water, for lack of a better term, it's, you can come out and just attend some of these things. You guys send out emails, or you guys let people know about these events that are happening in their area, and you can just kind of come attend that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would have to invite you. You would have to be in contact with the program lead.
Okay.
When it is an event, because there's insurance aspects, when you're out fishing and things like that.
Oh yeah, number of people, limitations, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to be careful. You have to be signed up as a participant. But if it's something, like I said, that, you realize after you started participating, this really isn't your thing, no hard feelings, we can kind of retire your status, and, you can go find something else. And people don't have to have experience fly fishing to try it out. So we are always welcoming new people who have no experience, whether fly fishing or any type of fishing, because some of this it's teaching. We're going to teach you how to, put a rod together, cast it, tie flies on. You don't have to know anything.
Nice.
We'll help you through that. I have a ton of great volunteers with my chapter who are very, very good fishermen, who really assist, the newer people that don't have just as much experience fishing. We do participate in trips where we at times use guides. So, if you're really having a hard time, catching something, fishing's always a little more fun when you're catching. So we don't want to discourage people. So at times we might use professional services, to assist people, to make sure that you're catching and you're getting engaged.
Yeah.
And we also provide equipment. So you don't have to have anything. You can just show up, just you. We will outfit you for an event. If we were going to go out fishing, I'll bring the rods, I'll bring the waders, we'll bring flies, all of that. We'll have all the supplies there for you. Just come out and try it. Nobody needs to feel self-conscious if they don't have all of that, gear that everybody else has that, has been fishing their whole lives. No expectation for that at all.
That's a huge obstacle for people. So that's great. That's fantastic. Ben, I'm ready to go. How about you?
Hey, listen, I was listening to you. I'm fishing in my mind right now. I just caught a big one.
Any final questions from you, Ben?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to our listeners that Healing Waters is a national organization. So I don't care where you're listening at, what state you're from, there's probably one near you. So Mark is going to leave some notes in the note section at the end of this podcast for anybody that's interested. Like I say, don't be a fisherman. Be a fisherman.
Well, yeah. So right when you go to the website, projecthealingwaters.org, right at the top, you can type in, you find your local chapter, you put your zip code in, that can help you. If you scroll down just a little bit, it says connect with your local program on the left side. That's another way to do it. There's programs and activities in the middle, and also volunteer and help lead your community. So the website's just chocked full of stuff that you can go check out to learn more and get involved. Sarah, we always kind of wrap things up by saying, any, kind of final thought or message that you would share with our listener base, who typically is, veterans suffering from some form of issue from their time in service. Any kind of final thoughts from you in your years doing, trauma therapy and also just working with Project Healing Waters that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just don't want anybody ever to feel like self-conscious, like they can't come out. Everybody's coming from different walks of life. Everybody's had different experiences. We're here to support you. A lot of people need accommodations. Like I said, most of our participants, have been in combat. So people can have physical, mental challenges that are going on. If you need accommodations, we're happy to work with that. Don't feel like because you have something going on that you're not going to fit in. We'll figure it out.
Well, great content. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. Thanks so much for sharing Project Healing Waters and the organization and what it's meant to you and how it helps others. And again, if you guys have questions, need some help, like to get involved in whatever capacity, go to projecthealingwaters.org or check the show descriptions below. Or for this episode, we'll have links in there as we always do. And of course, back to Voice and Vision as well. So make sure that you're reaching out and getting the help that you need. At any time, you can contact the folks here. They are willing to help. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here. Great to have you.
Great. Thank you.
Ben, as always, thank you, my friend.
Likewise.
We will see you next time here on Untold Valor, Veterans Recovery in Action. You've been listening to Untold Valor by Voice and Vision. We hope you found the information and resources discussed today helpful. As always, thank you for listening and for your support. Remember to stay connected with us through our various social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to visit the website, voiceandvisioninc.org. That's voiceandvisioninc.org, where you can sign up for our blog and find free resources and information on upcoming events, webinars, workshops, and get support. You can also access our free help and hope guide for individuals and families struggling with substance use and addiction. If someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help because you and your life matter. Remember, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available to you at any time by dialing 988. We are all ambassadors of hope and recovery, and if you want to share your story, please contact us. Compeer Corps is also looking for veteran mentor volunteers and veteran participants. To find out more information about Compeer Corps, please call 610-541-0790. That's 610-541-0790. You can find all the links and contact information for the resources mentioned on today's episode by checking the description and the show notes section of your app. Thank you again for tuning in and for your support. Until next time, this has been Untold Valor.